my breast, and the green and white upon my chest. It's such a joy for us to see, for they play football the Celtic way, with the four-leaf clover on my breast, and the green and white upon my chest. It's such a joy for us to see, for they play football the Celtic way, for they play football.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are we getting on?
Evening, guys.
Fabulous
All good.
Friday, everyone.
Andy, good to have you back, mate. You had a wee bit of a dilemma, didn't you, on Wednesday night, and we couldn't get you on, mate, but it was good to see you got home safely, and you are with us tonight for our Friday focus show. One of the things that we're going to talk about, mate, is something that we couldn't speak about with you on Wednesday night, was the Leipzig game, so we'll get into that. But Baron, your escapades on Wednesday night, how has your week been, my man?
Aye, all right, mate. Obviously, I was at the game on Tuesday. Just unbelievable, man. In the standing section with the GB. I didn't even know what was under that banner. It came right down on my head. So I had to go on, I couldn't even go on social media in the stadium because it tells you you're getting a signal, but you're not getting a signal. I had to wait till I get home to find out what the banner was, and what a banner it was. Just a totally iconic. And every time you see one of these GB banners, you think that they can't beat that one, and they just continue to beat the next one and the next one, and it's just an amazing feat of work that these guys put into these. And you go, how did they do it? It's just amazing the work they do, that they put in, just to. And it's obviously for the club's benefit and other fans' benefit, because the whole of Europe's looking at their stadium going, wow. And they're the guys that keep the atmosphere going. I must admit, being in amongst them, they were an absolute credit. And an absolute credit. It was a privilege to be among them, to be at Paradise and such. I think what we're doing is an iconic night, mate, because we've no. In a year, no, we beat Bratislava 5-1. This is a different. Sorry, guys, am I cutting off here?
You keep breaking up. It's all right. You keep breaking up. We'll go to Paddy, mate, let you sort it out, pal. Right. So, Paddy, we were on Wednesday night for the.
Talk away the.
It wasn't so much a post-match show, was it? It was a full podcast, and we were on for 2 hours, and it could have been 4. It was that good, mate. We were all buzzing with me after that game on Tuesday night. As Andy said, it was unbelievable.
That's it. And Wednesday night, I should have been thinking about going to the bed. I wasn't climbing into bed at 4:10 on Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. But when the alarm goes off at that time, after you've had a Champions League win the night before, you don't really mind it. It was an unbelievable night. Just as Andy says, hats off to the Green Brigade. I know sometimes they get a bit of bad publicity here and there, but you have to hand it to the guys. The effort that goes into that, the money that must go into that, the planning that must go into that. You just have to tip your hat to them. Fantastic. And as Andy says, you just think that, when you think you've seen them all, and then they come out with another one. So just amazing. But again, just similar to Bratislava, the players, I think they were obviously buoyed from the weekend from Aberdeen, but the players fed off the energy from the crowd from the very first whistle. From You'll Never Walk Alone was blasting out to when the game kicked off, and the players just fed off that. And as I say, tough game, tough opponents, but there was the performance had a wee bit of everything from us. Different again from the Aberdeen game. We weren't allowed to be maybe as dominant as we were against Aberdeen, but just a fantastic night all around, and a brilliant result for the team, a brilliant result for Brendan. And it's just, I think it was Kez said a few minutes ago there, just what a time to be a Tim at the minute.
Aye, it certainly is, lads. It certainly is. So, Andy, let's get into it, mate. You were there, along with our Paddy. Celtic 3, RB Leipzig 1. 56% possession to 44. 17 goal attempts, 3 goals to 1. 9 key passes to 2. The passing accuracy and the distance covered as well. Don't know where the boys have went there. I don't know where they went. So basically the Leipzig game, Celtic 3, Leipzig 1. I don't know what has happened to the lads here. Oh, dearie me, dearie me, dearie me. So before they come back, let's have a wee look at Kevin Kemple, what he had to say about the game. So we tried to press Celtic high up the park, but they always had an answer to us. They didn't allow themselves to be dispossessed and kept the ball. We were always a step too late against them, and we had to run all night. I actually felt that we were continuously running all game like we were in a marathon. There was nothing more we could do about it in the second half. It took us 5 minutes or so to deal with the atmosphere. The double blow before half-time hurt us. And then, of course, the atmosphere came back. Celtic didn't panic when they were behind. I have to say I was very impressed by them. And that was Leipzig player Kevin Campbell. Lads, welcome back. I don't know what happened there.
Sorry, mate.
There's
critters in the system somewhere. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Right, don't worry about it. You're back, which is the main thing. So, Andy, Celtic 3, Leipzig 1. My man, you were there. I went through all the stats there.
Uh-huh.
Just talk us through the whole game, mate. We know we unluckily went behind, but just the fight and the performance for the boys all around was unbelievable. Talk us through your summary of the whole game, mate.
Well, I think, you know, when they scored, I could see it coming, mate. I think they were knocking on the door a wee bit. You had that fear.
Keep breaking up again, Andy, mate. Keep
If
breaking
I
up.
froze again, I don't know what to do. I've been through two different internet things to go on. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you fine, pal. Just start again, mate.
Aye, so I think we were backing up him a wee bit too much, and I know that goal came for a set piece, but I thought we were backing up him a wee. I think we actually started no too bad, just for that kind of time period. We were a wee bit panicky at times, but then we upped our game, mate. You know, the intensity grew. The crowd get louder. It was just a sheer determination that galvanised us, I think, as a crowd and as a team, that we're going to.
Keep breaking up again, Andy, mate. You keep breaking up, pal. Let's just go to Paddy quickly, mate, while we sort that out, mate. So, Paddy, just give us your. I know we had our podcast on Wednesday night, but just give us your sort of summary of the game in general, mate.
Just what we said the other night, Scotty. Just a wee bit of everything. A performance that just had a wee bit of everything, you know. And as Andy said, you know, when they scored, there was a wee period there for a few minutes where it looked as though we were beginning to rock a wee bit. But that's when the crowd, as I said, took control again, and just another example of when the Celtic Park crowd, they just won't allow the team to drop, and they got fully behind them again, and we got right back in about them again. And you know, as I said, just, you know, the one thing that they've done, and we've talked about it since the season began, like we've really tidied up our act in the Champions League when it comes to looking after the ball. It's the one thing that year in, year out, we saw Celtic suffer because they keep giving the ball away, and you get punished at this level by these teams home and away. But you know, the one thing that we've noticed since the hiding in Dortmund, you know, we've really worked on keeping the ball better, working the ball, recycling it again, and not making silly mistakes in around the edge of our own box. And exactly just what Smell the Glove has just said there. You know, I think the Germans, after a fairly promising start from them, I think they disappeared without trace. In truth, the second half, you know, if we had been a bit more savvy and a bit more clinical in the final third, we probably could have scored more. We absolutely could have scored more. There was at least 3 or 4 of the German players who were absolutely out on their feet. They just looked as though they were completely out on their feet. The running power of Kuhn, the running power of Maida, the running power from the middle of the field of McGregor, Hatate, and Engels had just done for them. They just I don't think they were ready for that level of fitness and that level of running power that we imposed on them. They just had no answer, Scotty. They had absolutely no answer. You know, if you look back at the game in its entirety, You know, they had that one save from Schmeichel in the second half. That was about really all they mustered in the second half, and even that was from a kind of a wee break that they made. They broke on us when we were actually trying to attack. So, as I say, it was just a kind of performance that just had absolutely everything. You know, great goals when we needed them, wonderful defending when we needed it. Again, big Trusty and Carter Vickers, absolutely outstanding. You know, I've said to people before, you know, just go back and watch some of the. I watched the Aberdeen game, watched it back there again. You know, just go back and watch Trusty's, what you would call his first pass out of defence. That's the one. You know, it's an education watching it. You just watch it. You watch this pace of his pass. It's just absolutely perfect, and it's timed sometimes to perfection. And if he doesn't play that pass with that right amount of pace, we're not getting out down the wing. He linked up brilliantly with Alex Faye a few times in that Aberdeen game, and again it was the same against Leipzig. You know, the big guy's a class act. You know, wonderful passer of the ball with his left foot, and it was great to see big Carter Vickers getting another about an hour, maybe over an hour, another few minutes into the legs there as well. But no, just an amazing night, an absolutely amazing night. And as we said on Wednesday night, or in the midweek, the sitting second in the Bundesliga. You know, I mean, these guys we had this leveled at us against Bratislava. Oh, they're the worst team in the tournament and all this stuff. Well, they can't say that about RB Leipzig. You know what I mean? As I say, they lost very narrowly to Dortmund on Saturday before they played us on Tuesday night. So these guys are a class act. There's absolutely no doubt about it. A team packed with international players, quality players, a quality manager as well. A guy who I wouldn't have been disappointed to see being appointed as Celtic manager a few years ago. Yeah. You know, so just a wonderful all round time for you know. And as I say, the one thing that I'm just delighted with is the players. The players are now absolutely 110% buying into Brendan's game plan. You can see that they're prepared to run through brick walls for him. As we said before, you see the players coming off the pitch absolutely dripping in sweat. They're giving their absolute all for him, and you can see the camaraderie when they're coming off with the player that's coming on to take their place. There's that connectivity between them. There's that togetherness with them, and that's all down to the manager. And it's just brilliant to see. It's just fantastic at the minute. We're just on a brilliant run. And as we said at the weekend, the only disappointing thing for me at the minute is that we're not playing you know who this weekend in the League Cup final.
Aye, that would be nice if we could get a hold of them now the way we're playing. Andy, welcome back, sir. Are we sorted?
I don't know, mate. This is the third internet source I've been connected to, so I don't know what's going on.
Right, mate. Just go back to the game, mate. Give us your overall summary of the 3-1 against Leipzig, pal.
I think it's one of the best performances I've seen in a long time. I think it's
It's not happening, Andy. It's not happening, my man. So I'll just come back to you quickly, Paddy, on the team of the week. One of the other things that happened was the Champions League team of the week, Nicholas Kuhn, has made it into the Champions League team of the week. Now, a lot of Celtic fans are saying that two better players on the night was Hatate and McGregor. So for them not to even get into that team as well just shows you the levels that you need to get to in this Champions League. But it's great to see Kuhn in there and one worldly of a goal at least.
It's great to see him getting the reward, Scotty. Absolutely brilliant, because he had a rough time at the start, and you know we touched on that during the week that you know sometimes we are all very quick to judge a player, especially players coming in from the outside or Europe or wherever. But sometimes you just need a wee bit of time, you know, and we're seeing that now with Engels as well. You know, we just need to give the guy a wee bit more time. Just let him find his feet, let him find his legs in Glasgow and the whole thing, and just let the guy get settled. And you can see now the difference in Kuhn. He just looks like a completely different player, an absolutely different player. I myself, like when I watched him last year, my memories of him are basically like this wee light guy out in the wing, and he looks far too lightweight. Didn't see an awful lot of difference between him and Tilio in terms of their build or whatever. And I thought these guys will need to bulk up if they're going to do anything. They need to do anything. But as I say, just like, you know, probably a year later or whatever, just look at the difference. You know, this guy's just, you know, I heard somebody saying coming out of the stadium the other night, he's channeling his inner Messi. And do you know what? You can't disagree with that when you see him, you know, and that's when you see him cutting in on that left foot. You know, that's the thing. When you see that, there are going to be warning signs there all across Europe now after the last couple of games when you see what he's capable of doing. And it's not only his goals, Scott, it's his all-round contribution to the team.
Yeah.
You know, he lost the ball. He lost the ball in the semi-final against Aberdeen, and he must have chased 70, 80 yards back to make a tackle and get the ball back. He was involved in losing the possession the other night. Again, he done the same. He chased the guy back away over the halfway line. So, you know, the guy is just completely playing out of his skin. He's playing the best football probably he's ever played at the minute, and we are reaping the benefits. And it's just great to see. It's great to see him being recognised when you look at the calibre of players that's in that team as well. You know, we look around, as I say, you pointed it out there. Look at the players that are not in the squad, and that doesn't only include Hatate McGregor. There's some of the other top players in Europe are not in that squad either. So it's just great to see him getting a wee bit of recognition because he's absolutely on fire at the minute. No two ways about it.
He certainly is, and I quite liked a couple of things that Brendan Rodgers said about him as well. Was that he pulled him up on a couple of his passes. You know, he said, "How did you think Nicholas Kuhn got on?" He said, "You done all right." You know, but I had to remind him a couple of times that he gave the ball away, and you know, you can't do that at this level. And I thought, good on you, Brendan. You know that you're still getting on his case, even though that he still had that performance. And you're right, his all-round play, even his defensive tracking back in that now is unbelievable. Andy, are we back in the room?
Device number 4, mate. This is the wife's phone I'm connected to now, so fingers crossed.
Right, mate. Just give us your overall experience of Tuesday night and the game in general, mate.
We will get through this. I promise you, we'll get through this. I think it was just an amazing experience, mate. I've been fortunate to be at quite good Champions League nights. Bayern Munich, Nakamura goal against Man United, the qualifier against Carragandi, all big atmosphere games, AC Milan and stuff like that. And it's up there with that. This is what I've seen other people mention. It's a generational kind of experience, and I totally get that. It's one it's going to stick in the younger ones' minds as that moment when it kind of. I don't think it's been. People think, "Oh, okay, you beat Leipzig, big deal and stuff like that," but it's momentous, mate. It's momentous in us progressing for this competition, potentially with going straight through. You know, going straight through into the next part of the competition. Did any see that at the start of the season? I certainly didn't.
No chance, mate. I don't think any of us did, mate. So you're breaking up again, my man. You're still breaking up, pal. So what we'll do, Paddy, is we'll just have a quick look at that as Andy was saying there. The actual Champions League standings at the halfway point. And Celtic are sitting pretty, very pretty, in 15th position there at the minute, on 7 points. I think when you look at it, we could be as high as 10th. When you look at the goal difference, I think that Dortmund game is going to come back to haunt us in the long run, because I think we're always going to be at the bottom of that pile, mate, when it comes to points. And this is where the goal difference is going to have to kick in. So you look at the game against Young Boys, for example, we're going to have to put a barrel load past them if we can, and try and get that goal difference back up. But like I said, mate, just looking at that, sitting very, very, very pretty. And look at some of the names that are below us as well. Yeah. So how are you seeing that now, mate? And where do you see Celtic getting? Are you with Andy? Do you think we could sneak in that automatic position there?
Do you know what, Scotty? As I said before, the way this team are going at the minute, you know, the way they're playing for him, and with Brendan, just to go back to what he said about Kuhn, and maybe this is Brendan. He's a player. He's a development player manager. That's his job. That's his forte. You know, so I would say Brendan. Will Brendan ever see the finished article in a player? Probably not. There's always room for another. There's another level you can get to, and these players are proving that now. Nicholas Kuhn is only one who's absolutely gone up at least another, maybe 2 levels from he was last year. So there's definitely more to come there. And it's all confidence, Scotty. It's all comes from the confidence, and that's the thing. The worrying thing was we had a couple of wee setbacks, sort of, in results, but in the performances after the Dortmund game, we sort of dropped off a wee bit in a couple of the games, and that's, you know, the players' confidence had taken a hit from that 7-1. You know, they had taking a bashing there, and that doesn't do good for your confidence in any way, shape, or form. So these wins, while yes, they may only be Slovan Bratislava, and that was Leipzig the other night, but that's what it's about, building momentum. It's about learning from the last one, and it's about building on the progress you've made and keeping the momentum going. And that's exactly, when you look at the way we've done just over the last few weeks, to say the second half at Motherwell, the game against Dundee, then the Aberdeen semi-final, and then now into the Leipzig game. It's all a gradual build-up of the momentum that we're going, and we are just absolutely steamrolling teams. What I will say about that table, Scotty, is with a bit of luck, and I don't say this. I'm not saying this to be disingenuous, but we could have nicked the game in Atalanta that night as well. Don't forget that we could actually have nicked that game. We had a couple of wee chances on the break. Nick Kyogo came on, could have scored 2 goals. You know what I mean? Yeah. Kuhn had a wee chance on the break as well when he gave the guy 20 yards and still managed to beat him to the ball. So yes, Atalanta could have won it too, but we could have nicked that game that night. So we could have been sitting there with an extra couple of points. You know what I mean? So at the minute, just we said it a couple of weeks ago. The games that are going to be key for us are our home games. Absolutely. If we can get Celtic Park back to being the fortress that it was under previous managers, and that's the way it's looking so far, the way we've done, with the two performances against Bratislava and Leipzig, you've scored 8 goals and you've conceded 2, and that's fantastic. If we can take that kind of form and that kind of progress into the 2 games against Bruges and Young Boys, we will be in with a very, very good shout. The important thing is we get in there. If we get into some of them, that's all we're looking for, is a sign of progress. We didn't want to see the team finishing at the bottom of the table anymore. We want to see signs of progress, and the last 2 performances in Europe, certainly we can see clear evidence that this team is now feeling secure, and they feel that they belong in this arena. When they know themselves that they're capable of raising their game to a level to get them the win. So if we can just keep the momentum going, keep winning, keep motoring on, and as I say, these 2 home games, if we can get something away from home in Zagreb, that'll be brilliant. We pick something up along the way there, and just leave all them to the Aston Villa game. I would hope that by the time we get round to playing Villa, we will already be through in some way, shape, or form. But the way we're playing at the minute, we absolutely deserve to be where we are, and we deserve to be looking at a place in the next stages.
For sure. Andy, 5th time lucky.
I thought they just come into the house, mate. I just can't get out. Nothing's working out there. There's some kind of hun shield going on out there or something. I don't know what it is. I think it's an actual neighbour. The neighbours at either side are in conclusion to try and stop me coming on this pod. But I'm here and I'm always here. So there you go.
That's it, mate. Right, give us your experience of Tuesday night, mate.
Just amazing, mate. I don't even know where I go to when I was talking about it, but we really kicked Tony after that goal. It gives a kick up the arse, which I think we needed. And we were just immense, mate. I mean, we were scrapping for every ball. The total commitment for every single player in that team. And Kuhn's goal, now I was at a cracking angle because I was at that GB corner. The angle that ball came in, it was almost in slow motion. And I seen somebody comment, it might have been a journalist or something, saying, "Oh, that was a close, that wasn't a shot." So I said, "Shut up." The guy is absolutely superb. It was amazing, mate. I can't explain just how good this goal was for this angle. You just seen the bend on it. Just perfect. And to see Kuhn scoring that goal, a guy who has been absolutely fantastic this season. I think he's been our best player by far this season. And it makes losing Matt O'Reilly the big star of the team last season. It's a wee bit of a softer blow. Obviously, having Engels coming into the team, I know a big quality player who also played well. Hatati played well. Maida, again, pressing. And that second goal is just amazing. That came for just no giving up, just absolutely hassling them.
The press.
Aye, backing them into literally backing them into a corner. They had nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Celtic get the ball back, and there's your man again to stick it in the back of the poke, Nicholas Kuhn. An absolute fantastic performance for him. And then I thought we were really comfortable in the game. Do you know that way? Celtic, even if you go 2-1 up in a game in Europe, you're like, right, that's it, we're going to lose it 3-2 or 4-2. I mean, that's the mindset you're in. And that's why we're reacting the way we are, because we're not used to kind of glorious failure and disappointment.
Yeah.
I mean, we went for absolutely smashing Bratislava 5-1. right, to getting really embarrassed in Dortmund. I mean, it was embarrassing. Let's not kid ourselves here. To then get into the Atalanta game expecting the same, maybe not quite scoreline wise, but to get absolutely dominated with a very good Atalanta side, who I think is a better side than Dortmund, by the way. Atalanta, a team who's scoring for fun in Serie a very good, difficult week. And we tamed them and we contained them, and we had a bit of a threat as well. So it was a very, very composed, professional performance. And I think, although we didn't win that game, we got a point away from home. That's almost as much an important performance as the game was against Leipzig there. And I think we are in an absolutely fantastic, fantastic position, because look at the teams we're still to face. No taking it for granted, mate, but we should be looking at winning against Young Boys and Bruges, and then we'll whatever we can get away from home, we'll take it. But we should be looking to win the games, another 9 points for us. And I think we're in a fantastic position.
For sure. And Paddy, let's take a look at the Champions League fixtures that we've got coming up.
Yeah.
So on Wednesday, November the 27th, we have got Club Bruges at home. Then we've got Dinamo Zagreb away, Young Boys at home at the tail end of January, and then that one that you mentioned, Aston Villa away on the 29th of January. So next up, Club Bruges, let's have a wee look at them, mate, on the table. So they are sitting currently at the moment below us just now. So Club Bruges are sitting there in 22nd position, and we are sitting there in 15th. So a win would take us to 10 points. And why not? It's a game that we could be winning. I know they smashed Bratislava the last game there, but it's a game I fancy is against them at Celtic Park, mate.
That's the way it is. It'll be another tough game. Absolutely, they're a team from Belgium, so they'll be well organised. They'll be good. They'll be a big, strong team again. But again, as Andy said earlier, like the standard of opposition that we've played, I think we're over the worst of it in terms of the difficulty of the games that we're getting. With no disrespect to Bruges whatsoever, if we can play the way we did against Atalanta away and Leipzig at home, I don't envisage us having many problems with Club Bruges at Celtic Park. Just to go back to the game of the other night, where I thought the game was actually won was our game management. Again, similar to Atalanta, our game management when it went to 2-1, between 2-1 and 3-1, that spell that's when we showed the class and showed the way we've learned. That our game management at 2-1 until we scored the third goal was just something I don't know if I've ever seen a Celtic team as well organised and coping and dealing with the game as that. And I include some of the other Martin and Neil's teams as well. Do you know what I mean? That we gave them a lesson. We were the ones giving them a lesson on how to keep the ball and play, and also take the ball. We had players like Engels and McGregor and Hatate who are taking the ball under pressure in tight circumstances and tight situations, and all of a sudden, bang, they're out. And they've taken three Leipzig players out of the game, and we're away on the other side. Our game management was fantastic. And that's the thing. I just ask anybody to go back and watch it again, and you see if you watch the game against Man City a few years ago where we drew 3 each, the mistakes that we made, the way we gave the ball away. If you watch that game now, that game the other night, like we are learning. We are absolutely learning, and that's the one thing that we were always listening to Brendan saying, well, we learned from this. It looks as though we are starting to learn from it. It really does look as though the penny is starting to drop with some of them, because that was just, it was just a fantastic European performance, disciplined, and kept the ball when you needed to keep it, and they pressed when they needed to. We were pressing as a team. There was nobody isolating themselves and making runs and all the rest of it, and leaving somebody else exposed. It was just a perfect European performance. Whatever he had practiced with them during the week had absolutely gone absolutely 100% to plan. It was just fantastic. So no, the sky's the limit, Scotty. Absolutely, there's nothing. We should have absolutely nothing to fear from Club Bruges. No way at all should we be fearing that team. We shouldn't be fearing anybody at Celtic Park. But as I say, we've already played probably what I would consider to be the toughest games we've had so far. Atalanta and Dortmund for me were always going to be the two tough ones. Zagreb are a bit of an unknown. You don't sometimes know much about these teams, but it seems to be they might be decent enough. But again, it's away from home. So again, if we could go out there and get something, it'll be a bonus for us. We won't be expected to go out there and get anything as usual. So it'll be a bonus if we can get something. But the way I look at it is we have 4 games left, but we're looking at the next 3. If you look at the next 3, we've got 2 at home and 1 away in the next 3. And that's the big advantage for us. If we can take care of our business at home, then we don't need to worry too much about what happens. If we get something on the road, brilliant. But if we can get there, if we can get the points from our 2 home games, we'll be home and dry.
Aye, I think two of the words that you mentioned in that, what you said there, Paddy, was vision and learning. Now, I watched an interview today with Brendan Rodgers, Andy, and he spoke about that time when Callum McGregor went over to Mallorca to his house, and he sat down with him and had a meal and stuff, and he did mention those two words when he said how he's seen what he could do, the vision of what he could do with his team, and how he wanted them to learn and so on and so forth. And he said that, 18 months down the line, he's at that position now with his team. He says they learned last season in the Champions League, which we could all see. The performances were there, but the results weren't there. We got a couple of, unlucky red cards in games and injuries, key players. All last season, we just seemed to have injuries constantly, mate, to key players. And eventually, as it got towards the end of the season, for example, the Kilmarnock game that's coming up, towards the end of last season, we went to Rugby Park and smashed them 5-0 because everybody was back. And he said, we're now at another level at this moment in time. And you can see the progression, can't you? You can just see it and see it and see it and see it. And for me, this Brendan Rodgers team now is better than any team that he had on his first time here, mate. What's your thoughts on that?
Firstly, before I go on, smell the glove saying take 5 minutes, Andy. I totally get where he's coming from, because I think I was worried my internet was going to go again. I'm trying to get everything inside my head out in about one sentence, so apologies for that. I agree, mate. I think it's the way we are playing now, and possibly towards the end of the season we could be playing even better than what we are now. I think that's a progression of this team and the work that Brendan is doing with the players on a daily basis, and you're seeing that week to week with the teams. And no matter who's in that team, we seem to have really good quality on the bench as well. You've got Bernardo on that sitting there, and a quality player. Big Scales is doing the job as well. I know he's been kind of dropped out the team for Trusty, but I think Big Trusty's been good as well. So I think we seem to have a really good spirit in the team, good quality in the squad, and sorry, mate, I picked you up now, yeah. But I was right in what I was saying as well about trying to spit too much at one time. But absolutely delighted the way we are playing now. I think we always knew the type of manager we had with Brendan. We knew his qualities. I think what was blinding us for his qualities was the manner of his departure, his first time here. It really hit us hard. We were scorned, and it took us a while to get over that kind of hurdle. Seeing him as a rat. I have changed my opinion on Brendan that way, because I think he's shown up. He's certainly made a difference to the team, and we know we've got I would say a world-class manager, mate. I would. And I know a lot of people would say he's not a top-class manager, but you're putting a team together who's on a minute budget compared to all the big guns in the Champions League, and we're doing very well in the position we're in. All right, you can look at it and say the whole setup of the Champions League probably suits us better now than it does. A lot of the big hitters meet each other sooner, so it might benefit us in the long run. But we're getting results against good teams. No matter what the setup is, you're still playing good teams, and we've done really well. And I think Brendan himself was asked the question, what is progression now in Europe? And this is what it looks like, because we were unsure what we were going to get. This what it looks like. We're taking steps up, by no down. We're not taking one up and 5 back. You can see it's a wee step at a time. And that'll do for me, mate. That'll do for me. We need to get Celtic back to where we used to be in the European pedigree level of things.
Aye, it certainly looks as though we're certainly heading in that direction, lads. So before I hand over to Andy, who is going to give us his segment of The Voice, just after we do the segment on The Voice, we're going to be covering the Kilmarnock game. So Andy, I'll hand it over to you, my good man.
Aye, so this is sorry, mate. I should have been really planned for this. I know we had excuse me, I'm absolutely loaded with, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's COVID or the cold, or I don't know. but it's been asked for ages, and it's an absolute nightmare. Anyway, this is The Voice. No, it's no Paddy singing, and it's no me singing either. Only Scotty wants to have a wee shot of singing. I don't know what his voice is. Again, good at singing, Scotty. I've never heard it.
I did a good Richard Marx Hazard, mate.
Oh, there you. That's good. Paddy, who's your choice in the karaoke?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if the world of social media is ready for that.
Right, we'll do that another time. Right, so this is like ex-Celtic players, Celtic connections. It's basically Celtic players are ex-Celtic players. You'll hear the voice. You need to tell me who that player is, who that person is. Here is voice number 1.
And I still have my great memories of being a Celtic player.
Oh.
Right, we still need the 3 times, remember?
That's all right. That's all right. Just let that process, because you've only here's the second play.
And I still have my great memories of being a Celtic player.
I can fucking see him, man. Still not. Right, come on.
3. Final play, right?
And I still have my great memories of being a Celtic player.
He's got that Scottish twang in there as well, hasn't he? I don't know, man. Don't know.
Right, I'm going to get an answer off you guys. So if you want to write down whatever it is, whoever you think it is, make it up. I can't have no answer. You need to have something.
I know it's not.
Right,
I know it's, I'll go for Scott McDonald, but I know it's not.
Scott McDonald, okay. Paddy?
I went for Big Melby, but I know it's not him.
This is who it is.
And I still have my great memories of being a Celtic player.
And guess what? Somebody actually got that, I think.
I thought that'd be quite easy because he's, there's a foreign accent there, but he's very Scottish as well, isn't he?
You've heard it so many times too.
Let's get the comments. Aye. There we go.
Aye. Well done, Kez.
Wow. Right, comments off.
Aye. Okay, you ready for voice number 2?
Yep.
Here we go.
And I just thought, again, if we could nick a free kick in and around.
The fuck?
Do you need an era, like a manager, with a manager help, who they played under?
Aye.
Right, I'll play it 3 times, right?
And I just thought, again, if we could nick a free kick in and around.
I'm pretty sure this player played under Strachan, I think it was Strachan. I thought it was O'Neill, actually. Might have been between the two of them. Might have been between the two of them.
Right.
It was either O'Neill or Strachan, I can't remember. But it's that era. Here's the 3rd play. You ready for the final play of this, boys?
Yep.
And I just thought, again, if we could nick a free kick in and around.
Difficult.
It is.
That's a West Midlands accent, that, isn't it? Or East Midlands, West Midlands, the Midlands. Okay, you get an answer there, Paddy?
I went for Yuri Yarosek, but
Yarosek, okay. Spotty?
Paul Telfer.
Paul Telfer. Almost.
And I just thought, again, if we could nick a free kick in and around.
Lee Naylor.
Bastard.
Did he play under O'Neill or Strachan? Or was it a split?
They under Strachan, yeah.
Strachan, aye.
Aye.
When you said Strachan, that's why I thought of Paul Telfer.
Well,
He's
same
son-in-law, isn't he?
position, mate. So, aye, only 4 off it. So you haven't got any yet. I honestly thought there would have been a bit. It's different seeming you're making the voices up. You're going, this is too easy. But it's very difficult to gauge because I know what the voices are.
Tough,
But,
mate.
aye, yes, that is tough. Here is voice number 3.
Brilliant as well, coming down in the numbers and made it feel like a proper game. I think when you got clubs of this stature.
Here's the second play.
Brilliant as well, coming down in the numbers and made it feel like a proper game. I think when you got clubs of this stature.
Ringing any bells?
No,
I think I've got it, but
Here's the final play, okay?
Brilliant as well, coming down in the numbers and made it feel like a proper game. I think when you got clubs of this stature.
Scotty, let's start with you this time. Does it say?
Robbie Keane.
Robbie Keane. Paddy, who have you got?
I go for Liam Scales.
Liam Scales. Obviously, he's got a right country, but unfortunately, guys,
We're on the right island.
it's the very young man with a very old face.
Brilliant as well, coming down in the numbers and made it feel like a proper game. I think when you got clubs of this stature.
Johnny Hayes.
absolutely terrible.
Johnny Hayes. He's got none right.
Jerry would have a field day with this tonight.
Oh,
This is going to get clipped on Rangers sites now, isn't it? We're like that guy half of Rangers TV getting absolutely none.
aye. To be honest, mate, I mean, it's somebody's voice. It's a wee bit more difficult than kind of actual facts. So that was
We drew a blank there.
unlucky, guys. It's just the way it is, isn't it? I'm going to make it even more difficult next time. That's what you get for trying to fuck me up with conundrum, Scotty.
Well, that's still too difficult, is it? That's still too
It's
difficult.
only, it certainly isn't. Just put letters on a board, man. That's me. I'm knackered.
Oh, brilliant. No, well done, mate. That was brilliant. Very difficult indeed. But I think it was it Kez? Kez was the main man in that one, wasn't he? I think he got 2 out of 3. So well done to Kez. I think he is our winner.
Aye.
So
You didn't get Kez on one night. He kind of
Get them on here, yeah. Get them on here. Yeah, get them on.
He can come on and do my place as a conundrum. I might win something.
So moving on, ladies and gentlemen, to week 12 of the SPFL fixtures. And we are away to Kilmarnock on Sunday. Let's have a look at the rest of them as well. So Dundee United, who are fighting for that third place at the minute, are at home to Ross County. So good luck to Dundee United. Hibs, who are languishing at the bottom with their Edinburgh rivals, are at home to St Mirren. And I think, by the way, if they lose that, I think their manager could be on a wee sugary peg there. So if St Mirren can get the points there, we might see another Hibernian manager sacked at the weekend. Motherwell are at home to St Johnstone. Our title rivals, Aberdeen, are at home to Dundee. And the Rangers are at home to Heart of Midlothian. But we don't want to talk about any other game, Andy, except for Kilmarnock versus Celtic. So it's always a tough game when we go to Rugby Park on that plastic pitch. What sort of game are you expecting off them this time around, Paul?
Firstly, if I can just touch on the Hearts and tribute act game, it's like watching two brothers kiss each other when they two play. I think the Kilmarnock game, I know it's a notoriously can be a difficult place to go. I am absolutely in no doubt that we will go there and score goals. And I don't care who comes in. If somebody's missing, we are on a high now, and we can talk about European hangovers and all that, but this is a major boost Celtic's got in this midweek game in the Champions League. And I think they've got the bit between their teeth now. I think you're just going to, every week you're going to see Celtic improve. And I can see Celtic going there and putting a few past Kelly. I can see a 5. I could probably put a 4 or a 5. I'm going to go with comfortably.
Aye. Yourself, Paddy, what are you expecting for Celtic down at Rugby Park?
Aye, it'll be a tough game, Scott. It always is at Kilmarnock. They always make it difficult for you. You know, they're a big, strong team. At the end, they don't tend to play a lot of football. They get the ball forward early and get it into the box. But the way we're playing at the minute, I just think that, you know, if we can impose ourselves, it's all about how we impose ourselves on them. If we play the way we can play and get the ball down and get playing the way we've done recently, there's no team in Scotland will live with us at the minute. The only concern I have is obviously is the plastic pitch. You know, sometimes we don't play that well on that surface, but we're absolutely flying high in terms of confidence at the minute. I think Trusty didn't train today, but Brendan said that there was nothing really serious. He'd have a look at them again tomorrow, but I would think if big Carter Vickers is maybe still feeling things a bit, he might not risk him on that plastic surface. Trusty seemed to go over in his ankle the other night. He seemed to pick up a heavy knock, and we were sort of thinking he might have to come off, but he seemed to shake it off again. But again, if he's feeling it at all, you know, so they'll have a few wee changes maybe to make or whatever. They might have to think about that. But as Andy says, we are absolutely flying at the minute in terms of how we're playing. The confidence level's just oozing through the team. And it doesn't seem to matter if he does make a change or two. The players who come in just seem to slot in, take the place of the other player, and just you know, produce the same quality. So I'm not saying I'll expect a comfortable win, but I do think we'll take the 3 points. We might have to break them down, but that's what you expect going to Kilmarnock. As far as I know, the guy Findlay is one of their best defenders. I think he's out for a wee while with a nasty injury.
Yeah.
The wee winger guy Armstrong, who always impresses me when we play Kilmarnock, I think he might be struggling. I don't know that he's been ruled out, but I think he is struggling for the game.
Yeah.
So that would be a major blow for them. But no, absolutely, it's not about Kilmarnock. It's about what we do. You know, it's about what we do. It's about the players playing the way they can, playing their football, getting the ball down, being comfortable, confident, and doing what they've been doing this last 3 or 4 weeks. And if we do that, we shouldn't have any issues whatsoever.
Aye, and our Paddy has been reading my notes yet again. Stuart Findlay has been ruled out until the new year with severe ankle ligament damage. The 29-year-old, who has been a regular starter for Killie, was carried off on a stretcher in the first half of Sunday's 3-2 defeat away to Dundee. Manager Derek McInnes revealed on Wednesday that Findlay, on loan from Oxford, will be out for a number of months. Thankfully, there's no dislocation or fracture, but there is severe ligament damage, said McInnes. We're waiting for the results of the scan. He could be out for 2, 3 to 4 months. Winger Danny Armstrong is also doubtful for Sunday's William Hill Premiership match at home to Celtic due to a hamstring issue that forced him off against Dundee. So, Andy, as Paddy said, Armstrong is one of the players that has played very, very well against us, and he's been linked with us as well in the past. Pretty much last season he was linked with us a few times, and he's gave us a torrid time down that right hand side. Another thing that Paddy touched on was that Trusty and Cameron Carter-Vickers hadn't trained today. It doesn't mean they're out of the game, but would you be comfortable if Scales, you know, or Welsh came in as well, you know, even if the two of them started? I think that's a bonus we've got now, is we've got 2 solid players for every position, and it is, barring the 2 centre-halves, it is like for like, innit, mate, or in the team.
Just touching on Armstrong, he's a player, you know, Scott. I've admired him for a long time. I think he'd have been fantastic signing for Celtic. Even if there's some kind of backup in the squad, I think he's a really talented player, sturdy, strong player as well. I just wonder why does he scoot about with that bandage on his wrist all the time? It's a weird one, isn't it? Is he going to come out with his hammy all tied up when he eventually recovers for it? I don't know. It's obviously a superstition thing or something. Or maybe he's right-handed. I don't know. Maybe he's too busy doing stuff. Just with talking on Trusty and Scales, I totally get people saying that they want to risk him on that part, especially CCV just coming back from an injury. But Brendan actually touched on it. You know, we had a big game against it, a semi-final against Aberdeen, and then we had a big European game. And obviously CCV's just coming back from an injury. He said maybe took a wee knock. It's maybe just kind of try to ease him back into match fitness again. Trusty as well took a wee knock. So maybe they've no trained, they just wants to give him a wee kind of rest. It's nothing to say that they won't come and play in this game, but I totally get it if it doesn't play them, because I'm very comfortable with Scales coming in. Absolutely no problem. I don't know about the two of them being out. That, you know, if it's Scales and I don't know, is Welsh even fit? I don't know.
Naroki's been mentioned in the comments there. Remember him?
You've got Narovsky as well, you know. And if we're talking about spending $6 million on Trusty, and that's one of the reasons he'll be playing, is because you spend that money on a quality player. Narovsky, he was about 5 million, was he not? Yeah. And he's not really, you know, he's not really come in and done much. He's had these injury problems, and he's looked all right at times, but you really wonder what's going to happen with this boy as well, don't you? Because Welsh seems to be ahead of him in the pecking order when it comes to backup. But I'd be very comfortable with Scales coming in. I think it's been quite unfortunate getting left out of the team. But you know about us, Scotty, it's that time of the season, you're in every competition, so you're going to need to use your squad. And this is when it becomes a real squad game and a togetherness that no matter in a team that they're going to get backed up, and that whoever's their backup is going to be behind them and supporting them, no matter who's on the pitch. So I'd be very comfortable with whoever's at the back for Celtic, especially having Schmeichel at the back. It's such a big confidence booster, having a very intelligent player, mate, when it comes to reading the game. But his distribution is just amazing. And as Paddy's touched on it before, and I think Jerry as well, and yourself, he'd make a cracking midfield player. You know, his passing ability is just very seldom does he reach a player that he's aiming for. He seems to hit that player or that area every time. He's very accurate with his passing. So having him at the back it gives you a peace of mind, quite confident that way. I hate that surface. I really do, but I'm not going to make excuses for it. But it's been like that for a number of years now. We've also went there and won plenty. So if we were to go there and drop points, we can't then go and blame the pitch, because I've won there and quite handsomely. So you know, I think Celtic will go on the ball, mate, and I'm convinced that we'll put on a really good performance.
Aye, two things I want to touch on there, Paddy, was I watched Brendan Rodgers' press conference today, and I watched Schmeichel's as well. I did send them to you in the group chat. But one of the things that Brendan said was there will be no excuses. You know, we went there last season, we beat them 5-0. So it's as simple as that. You know, there is no excuses. But touching on Schmeichel, I thought what was fascinating about his press conference today was he spoke very well about goalkeeping in general and how much it's changed since he started as a goalkeeper. And we touched on it a couple of weeks ago when we done that little segment on Joe Hart, who speaks very well about what being a goalkeeper is these days as well. And he said something about the two saves that he had against Leipzig, and he went, that's not really part of goalkeeping anymore. He goes, look at the Aberdeen game. He says, I touched the ball 60 times. Yeah. You know, and that's basically what he's saying is he takes the ball off midfielders and off defenders and starts to play now. And it's just a totally different way goalkeepers play now. When we were boys, they get played back to the goalkeeper and they picked it up and they would waste time. And not one of them was a football player. You know, it's unbelievable. How do you see it? Would you be happy with Scales coming in and Welsh if the two lads didn't make it, mate? And just give us what's your starting 11 for Sunday, Paddy? Give us your overall starting 11, pal.
I can't honestly see him. For me, it's still going to be 2 out of the 3. You know, I don't see that there's going to be. It's going to be a partnership between some two of them. I can't see them. I can't see them both being out. Maybe Carter Vickers, you know, just because of the surface and because of the nature of the injury that he's had. You know, I think he's dealing with an injury to his toe, which has given him quite a bit of bother. So maybe on that hard surface, it might not be a great idea, you know. But so I can see it maybe being Scales and Trusty, and I'd be absolutely happy enough with that. Again, you know, you sometimes think after a big European game, sometimes there's a wee bit of a drop off, and you think maybe make a few changes. But I wouldn't be keen about doing that, because this is the last game. There's a break coming up now. There's an international break coming up, so this is the last game. It's just one more big push until the break again, and that's the way they should be looking at it. So I would be going with the tried and trusted again, you know, to see if we can get one more big performance out of them. And as Andy says, we have the squad. You saw the difference in the Aberdeen game. You saw the difference the other night when the guys that came into the game, they didn't only come in, they came in and they made a contribution as well, and that's what you're after. You know, you're wanting to replace quality with quality. You don't want to just take a guy off because he's tired and replace him with somebody who may or may not do the business or whatever. You want to know that the guy coming in is going to do the job, and that's what's been happening, and that's the difference that we've seen this season. And you know, to touch on what we said earlier on about Brendan and his plan for Europe, that's exactly his vision for Europe. And the board this season have backed him 100%. They've gone out and they've spent money. They brought in Adam Ida on a permanent deal. They brought in Alex Fye. They brought in Engels. You know, so they've absolutely backed the manager there, and that's we're now seeing the results of that. The quality of player that we have in the squad now. We said it before. We could probably easily field a team. We could probably field 2 teams. Certainly, we could field 2 teams in the Premier League and win most days. You know, so we are looking at you know, the quality of the squad has gone up. We now have strength and depth with quality, where last year we had plenty of numbers, but we maybe just didn't have that quality. You know, I'm thinking I get guys like Kobayashi and Haksabanovic and 1 or 2 other guys who the bodies were there, but they weren't necessarily the quality that we have. We have that now. We actually have that now. So it doesn't seem to matter if you take a central defender out. You've got other guys that can come in. If you take out one of the midfielders, you've got another couple of guys that can come in. You have plenty of choices up front. You know what I mean? You Maida can play through the middle. Brendan has loads and loads of choices there. So it's just, I honestly don't see him going too much from what will be his best team. You know what I mean? Again, on that surface, again, you know, maybe Big Ida up front to hold the ball up or whatever, but I don't see there being many changes, because I think that's what his plan will be. His plan will be to say, you know, this is the last game before the international break. We just need one more big effort from everybody to get another 3 points over the line, and then we can all go away and enjoy the break or whatever we're doing. You know, so that's I see him going more or less full strength. The only one that's to say I wouldn't be surprised to see the centre half pairing being Scales and Trusty.
Aye, good call, mate. And one of the things you mentioned there was the internationals, and I don't know if it's a good thing or no, Andy, but Kyogo got called up for the Japan team again.
Yeah.
So we know that Hatate's travelled the last 2 times and hasn't featured whatsoever. So we kind of hope it's not the same sort of scenario now for Kyogo, but it'd be nice for him to go away on international break, mate, and even take the match ball him on Sunday, mate. That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It would be, aye, of course it would be. Kyogo is an absolutely fantastic player. And I've seen many people say it, you know, Japan must be some team if they're no getting Hatate and Kyogo again. Maida's ahead of him. And for whatever reason, Maida's a good player. He's a very hard worker. But he's no a Kyogo when it comes to finishing, you know. Kyogo's just something else. And a lot of people say he's the best since Larson. They probably get a very good point, to be honest with you. It's down to your opinions in it. Personally, I liked Hooper. I'm not saying he's better than Kyogo, but I really liked Hooper as a striker. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. But anyway, that's getting off subject there. But see, when it comes to international, you want your players to be happy. They're going to be happy playing for their international team. But it's now 3 players we've got travelling that distance, possibly for nothing, because there's a good chance that all 3 of them might not actually play, you know. But at least you know they're not going to come back injured, but they're going to come back absolutely knackered, because it's not exactly around the corner, you know, when they're going to move these international breaks. So I think it'd be good for him for a kind of personal issue. But when it comes to Celtic, I want to see Celtic with their best players and fit at all times. And it takes away from your club. So I don't really care less whether they go. I'd rather they stayed and gave their all to Celtic. Dear Kilmarnock, forget us international football. Just concentrate on your club football. I don't mind getting back to Japan. But I totally get it. It's going to be a proud time. I know the Japanese are very proud people, you know, so it means a lot to them for things like this to happen, to be classed as one of the best football players in their country. So I totally get that, but international football doesn't really do it for me, mate. So I just want the players all back here doing it for Celtic.
Aye, and thank God it doesn't do it for Callum McGregor anymore, because, as you said, we are certainly reaping the benefits from that for sure.
Scotty, can I ask you, is that KT? Is that Greg Taylor? Who's that in your t-shirt?
Certainly is. It's when he told the Buffalo,
"Oh,
"Shut your fat boy."
Very good, mate. How did you see this Kilmarnock game going? What are you thinking?
I think I'm going to go for a 4-1, lads. I think just with the uncertainty with who's going to play in defence. Oh, there we go. There he's in there as well.
Oh, you've got him on.
I just with the uncertainty with the defence, I think we might concede just with the pitch and all that. But you know, I think we're going to be relentless until we shoot after the international break, as we said. I'm with you, mate. 4 or 5. I think I will go for 4. I think Celtic will win 4-1. I think it'll be a comfortable day. You know, people seem to think we're going to go there and it's going to be a tough day. I don't think it is. They're missing their 2 best players, Finlay and Armstrong as well, which gives us another shot in the arm. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be very comfortable, and we will be here on Sunday after the game as ever to give it to you and go over what's going to happen in the game. But I just think it's going to be comfortable, lads. Paddy, yourself, what is your prediction for the game on Sunday? Give us your scoreline prediction.
I'm going to go 3-0, Scotty. I can see us being very tough and very determined and very resilient in the way we have been. And just as I say, we're just like a well-oiled machine at the minute. You know, it's just the machine just ticking over, and we're just, you know, it's not about how the other team plays; it's about how we play. Yes, you can factor into the McInnes factor and all that there. Yes, I get that 100%. But it's about how we play. That's what it's about. And again, the other thing is, you know, to put maximum pressure on, you know, who going into their game later on. We can stretch the lead a wee bit further with being a 3 o'clock kickoff, so we can put even more pressure on them. Not that it'll probably matter much, but no, I can see us comfortably winning 3-0. I'll go for 3-0.
3-0. 4-1 for me. Andy, what are you going for yourself?
I'm going to go for, I said 4 or 5. I'll go with 4. 4-0. I think we'll be solid enough at the back. I think we're going to be absolutely far too much for Kelly when it comes to their forward play, the midfield forward. I think we're going to destroy them. I think we're so many levels above them. It's unreal. And I'm actually looking forward to the game. It's getting to a point now that even like 3 games within 7 days isn't enough for me. You know, I just want to see more and more. If I'm not seeing Celtic in the flesh or on the TV, I'm looking at Celtic content. So I'm looking at other podcasts. For some reason, I can't watch your podcast back. I can't watch myself. I'm like, look at the state of me. I talk one load of shit. And I can't do it, mate. So I look at other podcasts. So I look at Axum and Celtic Exchange, and you know, I quite enjoy ones like that. My favourite one is 20 Minute Tims. 20 Minute Tims for me is one of the best ones out there. Brilliant podcast. So we are brilliant. But we're just we're infants in the podcast world. We will get up to that point, hopefully, very soon. But that's the kind of stuff I like. I'm always taking in all different kind of Celtic content, and I would say, I know we're not talking about, why am I bringing this up? I'm talking a lot of shite, man. I'm just bringing it up. And you're like, I've got work to go to. Stop talking, Andy. Sorry, mate. You know, I've missed the last podcast, and the start of this podcast went absolutely, it was like a shambles, mate, because I had a hamster on a bike trying to work with Wi-Fi. It just wasn't working for me at all. So I'm trying to fit I'm compressing everything into, you know, short, big long sentences. So apologies for that, mate.
No, it's certainly working now, mate, for sure. That's you're back in the room, mate. You're back in the room. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's us. It was just a quick one tonight, a Friday focus to go over the Leipzig game because we missed our Andy on Wednesday night, and to preview the Kilmarnock game for you as well. Thank you very much for your contributions, for Andy's little segment that he done as well. He's got the answers and stuff like that, and thanks very much for all your comments tonight as well. And we will see you on Sunday, straight after the game. Hopefully another 3 points and sitting cosy at the top of the league. So that's us, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy your weekend, and we will see you on Sunday night. So thank you very much.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.